Hi, I'm Charlie Asher, and I want to squeeze into the next 30 minutes as much information as I can about a different way of looking at some assessments of families. I'm going to use the term guardian ad litem, or GAL, but I think these same considerations apply if you're talking about a parent coordinator, for example. Some people doing sort of low-level custody evaluations, although we're not big fans of custody evaluations here at uptoparents.org. But I'll be using the word GAL. Some of these same principles I say that will apply anytime that we're looking at parents who have needed a little more examination, a little more leadership from the outside to get their families to work right as they're working through family transitions like divorce or post-divorce conflict or paternity case conflict. I want to say, first of all, I think we have to be careful. We have to be careful. Most evaluations from families hurt families. And this is something that the law has been very slow to observe. I think we know a little bit about this in St. Joseph County, Indiana, because we've more or less been what I would call the Disneyland of custody evaluations. We've had an organization called, or an arm of the court called DRCB, Domestic Relations Counseling Bureau, and its whole purpose was to do custody evaluations for years and years. And thankfully we have a new director. She's been there some years, but she's been teaching all of us, including the courts, her principle that 80 to 90% of the cases that have been sent to DRCB for custody evaluations did more harm than good. They should never have been sent. It was predictable. These were parents who were thoroughly capable, with a little bit of help, of reconnecting with their natural wish to save their kids. They were perfectly capable of elevating their understanding of what their real challenge was. That is something much more like, how do we team up to protect our kids and give them a safe world to live their one and only childhood, instead of believing, well, our real job is to try to crush each other. But instead we sent them for custody evaluations, and what happened there? People traded these horrendous allegations about each other, and first of all, that's all they could remember because they're in this very fearful state. These are essentially trials. Barb and I have an article on the Professionals Corner of uptoparents.org on the destructiveness of custody evaluations and their overuse. There's certainly happen to be a small number of cases where a custody evaluation might be necessary, or a GAL investigation that's basically a custody evaluation, but that's a tiny percentage of the times that we've been using them. We've got to be careful. These are driving parents further and further apart. They're led to remember only the bad and to deny the good, and it's not safe for them to acknowledge, hey, there's some things I could be doing better. And their kids are dragged into it. Their kids are interviewed, and the kids are given whatever else we say to the kids, it doesn't work. The kids are left with a sense that they have a responsibility for this conflict or to find a solution for it. These are not helpful things. Take a look at our article if you want some more information about this. And I would say about 4 things to back up what I say. Number one, the best psychologists, some of the best psychologists, not just in our area, but in the country and in North America, and in all of the English-speaking world, have come out against custody evaluations, or at least their promiscuous use. Joan Kelly and Janet Johnston have a fantastic article in the Family Court Review, in a 2005 article, and you can get the site for this off of that article that Barb and I have posted on the Professionals Corner of Up to Parents. Secondly, I'd want to point out an observation by a man named Sheldon Finman, or Shelley Finman he goes by. He's from Fort Myers, Florida. He has a wonderful observation about the whole idea of getting an order that's going to make a family work. We're going to make these parents be good parents. We're going to make them be good co-parents. And he says, do you know what a decision is in a custody case? Do you know what it is, really? It's the starter's pistol, Shelley says. It's the starter's pistol to the family's odyssey of conflict. He said, when did it ever happen? When did it ever happen that we did all this investigation? We invited these people to come in and say these horrible things, to close their eyes to the good, to fail to see the partnership that they had to build with each other. And instead they come in and say these things, and then we record them, and they read what each other said about each other, and you have a new round of accusations. We drag the kids in. When did it ever happen? At the end of all of that, we get a custody decision, and then the family works together. Now, mom and dad are working together, and they say, gee, now let's get down to work. That's what our custody label will be, or that's how we're going to resolve this issue about how we handle every 3rd Saturday of the month and when we're going to pick up the child and pick up the children and drop off the children. So please, let's be careful about that. A third observation is the one I shared a moment ago from Beth Kearns, the director of our DRCB, when she said 80 to 90% of these cases were predictable failures. It was predictable that we would do more harm than good. So let's be careful about that. And so as GALs, I'm speaking to you as GAL evaluators, let's be careful before we join this parade. And the fourth thing I would note is our own experience here at uptoparents.org and in our foundation here, we've done a lot of mediations in the last 10 years. In our intake sheets for years, we have asked, have you been to court, and did that help or hurt your family to work? And did you have a custody evaluation? And if so, did that help or hurt your family to work? After hundreds of cases, we have yet to find the first set of parents to say either one of those things helped. No set of parents has ever said, you know what, going to court helped us, or having a custody evaluation or a GAL investigation and report helped us. I mean, we should have, I think the word humility is important here, so let's be careful. What could we do instead? Well, what we need to do instead, I think, is to look at how we can help parents reconnect, even if we're acting as guardians ad litem, and maybe especially when we're acting as guardians ad litem. How can we help parents reconnect with their natural wish to protect their children, to give their children a good world to live their one and only childhood? And by the way, guardians ad litem, what is our duty? It's to the children. This should be everybody's duty. In Indiana, since 2007, there's been a ruling by the Indiana Supreme Court in Lambert versus Lambert that said that the overarching policy goal of all family cases with children, is the protection of those children's best interests. What do we know from all the psychological research, and really our own research, even if we're not experts in this field, what do we know kids need most? They need a predictable, restrained, cooperative, and if possible, courteous relationship between their parents. It's the quality of the co-parenting relationship that's going to determine how these kids are dealing with this trauma that they're going through as well. Dr. Timothy Anka is a psychologist in South Bend, and he makes this point very clear. He said, do you know who our clients should be seen as? Our real client, whether we are judges, lawyers, GALs, whether we are mediators, psychologists, counselors. Do you know who our real client is when the marriage is over or people separate? Our real client is the future co-parenting relationship. This is what's going to determine the quality of the kids' lives. And by the way, it's what's going to determine thousands of decisions that need to be made in the future that what would we otherwise do? Appoint another GAL, have another trial, have another custody evaluation because in 2 years there's a question about the children changing schedule or changing schools or taking a soccer trip instead of going on an academic quiz bowl trip? No, ultimately families raise children. Lawsuits do not raise children. GALs do not raise children. None of the professionals do. Fortunately, most parents love their kids, and that's what I want to talk to you about next.